So, I was watching the latest arc of Demon Slayer, the Hashira Training arc, where the strongest members of the Demon Slayer Corps get together to show how much they aren't really that good at teaching. And as I watched one of them tie their supposed students to poles so that the others could nearly hit them in the head with hard sticks, I found myself contemplating just the idea of a training arc that's structured like this, both for good and for bad. The bad is the fact that when I take into account how the story's gone so far, it kind of makes us heading towards the ending right now feel a bit rushed. Like we ran out of upper moons to use to characterize the Hashira in active arcs, so now we're having Tanjiro train with them individually before the final fight in the next arc. But that's the more negative way to put it. It could also be the author giving us a setup to get to know the various Hashira ahead of what's sure to be a very action focused arc, meaning that this arc is basically the preparation for Demon Slayer's war arc. But then, as I followed this logic, I realized that Demon Slayer might be one of the most uniquely structured battle shonen I've ever read. Okay, I know that was a very bold statement for me to make, but hear me out. For better or worse, the entirety of Demon Slayer, from its world to its narrative to even the way fights happen, is built around Muzan in a way it really isn't in most other series. And it all comes down to this question: what happens when Muzan is defeated? Because as far as I can tell, the answer is everyone goes home. I mean, let's look at other popular battle shonen and ask this question. My Hero Academia? The League of Villains going down isn't going to stop other people from committing crimes. Black Clover? Magic Knights probably won't become obsolete once Asta is Wizard King. Bleach and Naruto? I mean, do you even need to ask? We've seen the continuations of both stories. One Piece? I don't think taking down the government will eliminate piracy or those who police it. The Revolutionary Army even specifies that the Marines aren't their targets because, as corrupt as they've become under the Celestial Dragons, I think most people would rather not take their chances with the sea criminals. When it comes down to it, the Demon Slayer Corps doesn't exist for any other reason than to kill this one guy. The demons they do fight are really all extensions of him, to the point where apparently Muzan and his top 3 demons are the only members who can make others into demons. There is, at most, 1 degree of separation between Muzan and everyone the main characters have fought to the death. I mean, the Jujutsu Kaisen manga currently has everyone throwing everything at the villains, but Jujutsu Society will probably continue to exist afterwards. Probably. At the very least, the main characters don't expect it to end if they win. But even if a story does write itself in a way to get rid of its main organization along with the main villain, these organizations exist beyond the villain at first. Jujutsu sorcerers were fighting curses long before Yuji ate that finger. In fact, they were fighting curses long before Sukuna was a thing. Look at one of the few manga I can think of with a similar situation, Attack on Titan, with its battle against Titans. Now, full disclosure, I haven't seen that story beyond season 1 and what I've seen other people say about it. Yes, I know, it's a great sin, send me to the gallows. Because of that, I will refrain from making too many claims about the story. But even with the fact that the story ends without the need for the Survey Corps anymore, they weren't really created with a clear roadmap and a clear one guy they have to fight to achieve total victory. I'm not sure where Kaiju number 8 is going with the humanoid Kaiju, but the anti-Kaiju defense force were only created to fight mindless monsters before the intelligent ones showed up. Everything about the Demon Slayer Corps is built around the battle against one creature, Kibutsuji Muzan. They were started to kill him, they will end when they kill him, and everyone has been working towards that goal for centuries. And it works in giving the story an honestly unique feel because Muzan is such a terrifying and all-encompassing threat. Every demon they faced has him in their heads and could just die if they break one of his rules. You can't just travel to a Demon Slayer facility like the Swordsmith Village casually. You need to be carried in secret by people who themselves don't know the full way so the location never leaks. People are expected to log off their accounts if they mess up in a way that gives the demons any advantage. There is a whole village of people whose culture and behavior is modeled entirely out of their job of making weapons that can kill Muzan and his followers. Even the way they fight the demons is on Muzan's terms because they only come out at night when they have no fear from the sun. So the Slayers have to fight supernatural cannibals in their most optimal conditions and come out on top using nothing but their swords, their strength, and their apparently imaginary superpowers.
Shit! Hayase's down! Retreat!
This series has an incredibly dire setup from the get-go, with the threat of being eaten being very real. Also like Attack on Titan actually. This video is slowly turning into why Demon Slayer is Attack on Titan if Titans were the only enemies and Eren drowned in chill pills. Most of the Demon Slayers don't really have goals beyond beating Muzan because that's why they're there and why they've been training for a frankly ungodly amount of time. I'm about to get into some manga spoilers. Skip to this point if you're an anime only. I've been spoiled for quite a bit of the story beyond my current place in the anime, like the fact that several important characters die. And I used to find myself asking, why? Why did so many people just drop dead in the Demon Slayer final arc? I mean, I know people dying in what's supposed to be the final battle, it shouldn't be that crazy, but there's a certain point where I was contemplating all the characters who die and I found myself thinking, did Gege steal the pen and start writing the story? But this discussion I've been having so far has actually made me realize that, well, this discussion is why they die. It's the end of their stories. They exist as part of an organization where death is kind of expected, and as long as Muzan dies, the job is done. Sure, they could go on to live happy lives, but the story can still have a relatively happy ending even if half the cast die taking the demons out permanently. And it further exemplifies the threat Muzan is in a way that I find myself comparing to, well, Sukuna. Okay, this is the end of the spoilers. You may have problems with the exact execution, but in concept, Muzan is a terrifying force that's positioned to put maximum hopelessness into the situation. All the good guys, all the bad guys, the organizations, the secrecy. So much of the story is just built around the antagonist in a way that's really unique for the genre, cause everyone kind of thinks, yeah, if this guy gets any wind of anything, we're all dead. Why do Demon Slayers exist? To kill Muzan. Why do demons exist? To serve Muzan. What happens after Muzan dies? Well, nothing really. That's kind of it. Short of his second Muzan showing up, they can just disband and go on to live traumatized but relatively happy lives. It all starts and ends with this guy. No wonder he thinks so highly of himself. He's kind of the light Yagami of his story. Conversely, it also makes the guy who traumatized him so bad his blood cells in other people's bodies have PTSD look even more unbeatable. Of course, this kind of structure is not without disadvantages. The fact everything revolves around Muzan so thoroughly makes you question how things and people work outside of him. So the writer has to put even more effort into all that, which is probably why everyone has such bombastic personalities. You also run the risk of everyone having kind of the same backstory. A demon killed people I cared about. Which is simple and not even unrealistic, but it can get repetitive. In other anime organizations, there are other reasons to join, but everyone here kind of has the same baseline motivation, with characters like Tanjiro and Genya getting additions to that motivation that don't really heavily change their actions. You also have to really make sure Muzan and his goon squad work as antagonists. Last year I made a video about how the structure of Naruto made the Akatsuki such an iconic villain group, and pointed out that the Demon Moons are kind of the closest people to executing the same strategy. But at that point, the character writing for each individual member of the group becomes even more important. You might be wondering if this is supposed to be a positive or a negative video, but it's really not either. I'm just making some observations on what makes Demon Slayer unique compared to its contemporaries. And it's on Muzan and the upcoming battle against the demons to really take advantage of these conditions to their full potential. So, let's see how it goes. Tell me your thoughts on Demon Slayer and Muzan in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you and good day.